the war has reached a terrifying new stage. Explosions ripping through refineries deep inside Russia, drones flying farther and hitting harder than ever before, ships disabled in waters Moscow once considered safe, and Russian soldiers falling in staggering numbers. The question is no longer whether Russia can sustain its war machine, it's whether that machine is already grinding to a halt before our very eyes. This is not just another update. This is a turning point in the war, one where Ukraine's strategy of precision strikes, sabotage, and relentless drone warfare is dismantling Russia's military power piece by piece. And the scale of destruction is staggering. To understand the gravity of the situation, one has to look at the sheer numbers. Russia's confirmed military losses now surpass 179,000 personnel, with nearly 900 casualties in just the past day. On top of this, 4 tanks, 7 armored personnel vehicles, 40 artillery systems, and 2 rocket launchers have been, but perhaps most shocking of all, 2 massive oil refineries were struck in a single night. This isn't just about numbers on a battlefield report. Each loss represents cracks in Russia's already overstretched military machine. The tanks that won't roll, the artillery that won't fire, the soldiers that won't return. And the oil refineries? They represent the fuel Russia desperately needs to keep this war alive. One of the most dramatic events came with the strike on the Kubishev oil refinery. This wasn't some minor facility. It is among the largest in Russia, with the ability to process nearly 9 million tons of oil each year. Overnight, at least 17 Ukrainian drones slammed into the site, triggering massive explosions that lit up the night sky. Eyewitnesses described fireballs consuming entire sections of the complex, followed by secondary explosions that turned the blaze into an unstoppable inferno. Russian state media, normally quick to downplay such disasters, admitted openly that production had completely halted. This wasn't just damage, it was devastation. The refinery's primary crude distillation unit, CDU-1, with a daily capacity of 19,000 tons, was crippled. Another smaller unit, CDU-9, may still function, but at only 5,000 tons daily, it cannot even come close to replacing what has been lost. Analysts estimate that 75 to 80% of the refinery's total capacity is gone, and the loss couldn't have come at a worse time. The refinery produced jet fuel for Su-27 fighters and Tu-22 bombers, the very aircraft Russia relies on to launch missile strikes against Ukraine. Now, the Kremlin finds itself scrambling to replace this lost supply. The Kubishev refinery wasn't just another target. It was considered the most technologically advanced facility in the entire Samara group of refineries. Its destruction represents not only a loss in output, but a blow to Russia's confidence in its energy dominance. With this facility knocked offline, Russia is forced into a humiliating position. It must export crude oil abroad for refining, only to then import the finished fuel back at full market prices. This creates a devastating double squeeze. Russia is already selling its crude oil at discounted rates due to sanctions, but now it will also have to buy back refined fuel at global market value. In short, Moscow has managed to turn one of its greatest strengths, its energy sector, into a weakness. As if one refinery wasn't enough, Ukraine struck again within hours. The Aphipsky oil refinery in the Krasnodar region went up in flames after a coordinated drone assault. With a processing capacity of 7 million tons annually, this site is another critical hub for southern Russia's fuel network. Videos shared online show black smoke pouring into the skies as fire engulfed large parts of the facility. This refinery had already been struck earlier this year in February, and the fact that it was hit again demonstrates a relentless pattern. Ukraine is not giving these facilities the breathing space to recover. Together, the Kubishev and Aphipsky strikes represent 10 refinery hits in August alone, the highest monthly number since the war began. In just one 90-minute window of attacks, Ukraine managed to wipe out 5 to 6% of Russia's total refined oil output. The consequences? Fuel shortages inside Russia are expected to worsen, cutting into both civilian life and military operations. But the refinery strikes were only part of the night's destruction. Ukrainian drones also hit the Petrovo railway junction in the Volga region, igniting fires at both the railway station and a nearby electrical substation. This location wasn't chosen randomly. Petrovo is a critical junction that channels supplies towards southern Russia and occupied Ukraine. By hitting both the railway and its supporting power infrastructure, Ukraine effectively targeted the arteries keeping Russia's war machine alive. Every destroyed train, every delayed shipment adds more pressure on an already strained Russian supply network. The strikes didn't stop on land. Out at sea, a Boyan M-class missile corvette was disabled in the Azov Sea. Ukrainian special units used drones to first knock out the ship's radar before striking its hull. The Boyan M, though compact, carries caliber cruise missiles capable of devastating long-range strikes. Neutralizing it removes a dangerous threat and sends a chilling message to Russia's navy. No waters are safe anymore. Even ships in supposed secure areas can be hunted and disabled. This attack represents yet another embarrassment for the Russian Black Sea Fleet, already reeling from months of Ukrainian successes. On the front lines, Ukraine is also innovating. In the Kursk region, special forces planted mines along the route of a Russian BM-21 Grad multiple rocket launcher. Instead of a direct strike, they turned the vehicle's mobility into its downfall. These kinds of ambushes force Russia to waste resources, slow their convoys, and rethink every movement. They may seem small compared to refinery fires or naval attacks, but cumulatively, they sap Russia's strength and momentum. In Sumy, Ukrainian forces carried out an airstrike on Russian assault groups, gathering near the village of Yanuka. By striking the staging area, Ukraine disrupted not only the manpower, but also the timing of Russia's planned operations in the northern sector. Farther south, in the Donetsk region near Serebryanka, Ukraine's 81st Airmobile Brigade turned back a mechanized assault from Russia's 11th Army Corps. By hitting the enemy's rear, Ukrainian troops destroyed an armored carrier and forced the rest of the column to retreat. Holding Serebryanka is vital. It lies near the Seversky Donets River, a natural barrier Russia has repeatedly tried and failed to cross. Each failed assault drains Moscow's dwindling resources. One of the most shocking incidents came in Pokrovsk. A Russian unit of 16 soldiers disguised in Ukrainian uniforms attempted to infiltrate. But they were spotted and eliminated before achieving any success. Such tactics, disguising troops in enemy colors, are banned under the laws of war. But this isn't the first time Russia has tried it, and it likely won't be the last. It's a desperate and dangerous move, highlighting just how far Moscow is willing to go. Ukraine's drone operators continue to push the boundaries of what's possible. In the south, an FPV drone destroyed a Russian BM-21 Grad launcher 55 kilometers from Ukrainian territory. Normally, these drones operate effectively within 20 to 40 kilometers. This strike went far beyond that range, raising questions about whether Ukraine is now using advanced signal relays, control systems, or even mothership drones. Whatever the method, the result is clear. Russia's artillery, once a backbone of its military power, is increasingly vulnerable to cheap, long-range drone attacks. Beyond the battlefield, Russia's economy is showing visible cracks. Manufacturing giants are failing, space and construction companies are in freefall, and even farmers are struggling under crushing financial pressure. But the most striking sign comes from inside the defense industry itself. At a military plant in Kurgan, workers have gone 2 months without pay. One desperate worker even filmed a video outside the facility, pleading for Ukraine to bomb it, simply because it had failed to pay its own employees. This plant produces critical systems like radars, munitions, and air defense components. Yet even here, morale is collapsing, and desperation is setting in. Taken together, these events paint a dramatic picture of a war that is shifting rapidly. Russia is losing men, equipment, fuel, and infrastructure at a pace it cannot replace. Ukraine, through clever tactics and relentless drone warfare, is dismantling Russia's war machine not just at the front lines, but deep inside Russian territory. The strikes on refineries and supply hubs don't just create shortages, they strike at the very foundations of Russia's war economy. The naval attacks show that no vessel is safe. The ambushes, airstrikes, and disguised infiltrations reveal the growing chaos and desperation of the Kremlin's forces. For ordinary Russians, the pain is becoming impossible to ignore. Fuel shortages, unpaid wages, and collapsing industries are the clearest sign yet that the war is turning into a disaster for Moscow at home as well as abroad. The war may not be over, but one thing is clear: Russia is being stretched thinner every day, and Ukraine is proving that even against a larger enemy, strategy, technology, and relentless pressure can turn the tide of history.